This sandcastle technique is beginner level. Hi, I'm David Billings and welcome to Activity TV. We're going to build a very cool sun sandcastle today. Sometimes we use tools that require adult supervision, like a knife. So have fun creating these sandcastles with an adult helper. Now here's what you need to get started. 1 5-gallon bucket, 1 shovel, 1 spoon, spatula, beach shovel, water, and of course sand.
To print out a list of supplies and step-by-step instructions, please visit www.activitytv.tv.
First thing you need to do is get a bucket of water and start moving some of your sand around. I usually make a bit of a hole in the middle of the sand and add water. That way the water mixes in with the sand. You try and keep it in a little bit of a trench. Pack it down with your hand. You want to mix the water with the sand so it has water throughout the sand, because that'll hold it together better. So I just do this a little bit more, get it good and wet, pour water all over the thing. There we go. Now you can just go around it and pack it with your hands so it's nice, the sand's nice and firm. So now that I've got the nice round shape made, I can start making my sun face. First I'll start with the nose. Some nice wet sand and add it on the top. The nose should sort of be triangular shaped. Well, you start with it packed down. I'm going to use a spatula and just cut straight down, and then use a spatula to remove some of the sand from the nose. And then I'll cut a triangle this way and use again the spatula. So now we've got a nice triangle start for the nose. Now nose is almost cone shaped, so I'll cut it at a bit of an angle just so it's more shaped like a nose. And remove that sand. And use your fingers and just pack it down lightly. Next I'll use this spatula. It'll be a little easier to work with, and work on the eyes. So I'll cut the eyes, just cut some lines in just to get the shape of the eyes. It's almost like a diamond shape. I'll cut first, and then I cut at an angle from the center in around the diamond shape. So it looks like a diamond. And I'll do the same on the other side, of course. When you're cutting the diamond shape into the eye, you cut it at an angle and sort of just scoop the sand out. Then you can make a bit of a half moon shape above that at the same angle. Cut a line in from one side and then cut a line in from the other side to make your eyebrow. And then you just scoop out the sand. And do it both sides, of course. Now you can use your fingers to just clean things up a bit. Just rub your fingers lightly through there, and you now have the start of your eyes and your eyebrows. And again, use your fingers just to make your eye shape. Now I'm going to cut a line down along the nose. And along the other side of the nose. Okay, I've cut the lines along the nose to form the cheek lines and get ready to carve the mouth. Now I'm going to go back and cut curves along for the eyes just to clean up the eyes so they stand out more. Now that I've created the basic shape of the eye, I'm going to create the pupils. So I just take the spoon at about the center of the eye, and I make another smaller half moon shape in the eye. Do it with both. And just dig the sand out. Use a spoon just to clean up the edges a little bit. And I dig down a little bit in the corners of the eyes just so that they look a little more rounded. Now we're going to start with the mouth, and what we'll do first is we'll have a little bit of a line that comes from the center of the nose down, so you know where the center of the mouth should be. Then I'll cut at an angle into the sand towards the cheek line that I made. I'll do both sides. Just like that. Then I'll take the shovel and I'll go along the same edge as I have for the nose, and I'll just stick it into the sand and then just pop the sand out. And we have the top of the mouth. Now for the bottom mouth, we go the other direction at the opposite angle and cut in and just pull the sand out of there, and we have the bottom shape of the mouth. Next, I have to finish the cheeks before I can go down and complete the bottom of the mouth. So all I do is I cut a line down, straight down, on both sides, and then I clean the sand out, dig it down a little bit. Then for the bottom of the lip, just cut in and pull the sand away. Now I'm going to continue on with the cheek, and the cheeks are sort of rounded, so we'll just sort of round out the top part. And we'll do the same for the other side. Then we'll continue on down along the sides of the cheek a little bit, and they should sort of match in with the chin, where the chin would be below the lips, of course. And of course, what you do on one side, you need to do on the other side. Now you can just smooth everything out with your fingers, just to make it look nice and smooth. Go around the whole sculpture a bit. The chin is almost just like another bump on the bottom of your face, of course, so you just add that and then take a little bit off the bottom. Now that we're pretty well completed the face, now we'll make the edge all the way around, make a nice round circle, and I'll use my spatula for that. We'll just dig all the way around. Pack it all down good. Now I'll use the spatula again to make triangles around the sun for the rays of the sun. So we just cut in like a triangle, and then we just pull the sand out. Keep cutting your triangles all the way around. Now that we have our triangles cut out, we're going to cut indents along the triangles just to make the rays look a little bit more realistic. So we can do that both with the spatula, like I'm showing you now, and just clean them up as you go. I'll just smooth this out a little bit with my hands, just so we have sharp edges gone. There you have it, an awesome sun castle. Thanks for joining me. I'm David Billings. We'll see you next time.
Want to continue the fun? Well, there's always more cool activities to check out on our website. Just visit www.activitytv.tv.
Made for on demand.
This sandcastle technique is intermediate level. Hi, I'm David Billings and welcome to Activity TV. Today we're going to build a cool sand house. Sometimes we use tools that require adult supervision, like a knife. So have fun creating these sandcastles with an adult helper. Now here's what you need to get started. One 5-gallon bucket, one 5-gallon bucket with the bottom cut out, one shovel, spatula, butter knife, one spoon, water, and of course sand.
To print out a list of supplies and step-by-step instructions, please visit www.activitytv.tv.
Let's get started. First we're going to take a bucket, and this bucket here I have cut out the bottom of it. You can do that with any of the buckets you may have around the house. The reason we do that is that we can pour the sand in, mix it with the water and pack it really well, and that way there doesn't get any air traps. So when you pull the bucket off, the sand actually slides through it. So we'll get our water and a shovel for some sand. Put some sand in it to start, and then you add some water. And you can add lots of water, especially if you're on the beach, because the water will travel right through the sand. So just mix it up, and then you continue adding sand. For this house, we don't need to use the whole bucket, but we'll get it about half full and pack the sand in really well. Add a little bit more water. Mix it up a bit. Just add a little more sand there. As you'll see, the water starts seeping right through the sand. So because you have it in the bucket, you can actually pack it down really well. What that'll do is it'll make a really good, strong foundation for the house. The sand will stay together much longer. Next, I'll take my spatula, tap around the edges of the bucket. What that does is it loosens the sand from the edge of the inside of the bucket. Once we have that done, then we can just sort of slide the bucket up. You got to do this fairly carefully. And there you have a fairly firm pile of sand. Now that we have the base of the house together, it's time to start carving out the sides and get the basic shape of the actual house. What I'll do is I can make lines on the top to make a square within the circle that we have from the bucket, and then just cut the sides down, straight down. It's okay if you don't have a perfect square. Your house can be shaped any way you like. So now we have the basic square house. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to carve the roof. What I'll do is make a line down the center of the house so that we have this peak where the peak's going to be located. And we'll also incorporate a chimney in this at the same time. So what I'll do is I will cut a line along here and a line along there. So we'll just cut sides to get our angle for the roof. And I cut from the front so that I don't break any of the corner off. Now when I go to the back side, I do the same thing. And that way the back corners stay nice and sharp. On this side, we'll put a chimney. So I'll leave a piece of the roof there so that I can make the chimney in that piece. So again, we'll start from the front, cut the roof back till we get to the part where the chimney is going to be. And again, we'll cut down a little bit here and then do our angle from the back side again. Now I'm going to use a little smaller tool and cut at an angle towards the roof when we're doing the chimney, and then you follow the same angle of the roof down to cut out a bit of a triangular piece of the sand. And then of course we can do that again just to get a little straighter. And then on the side, we'll pull that down just a little bit there. And we have our chimney and our roof done. Now once we've completed the roof and the chimney, then I'll make a line across the front so we know about where the top edge of the house is, and I will cut in a little bit to do the front and side walls of the house. Now again, you can make your house any shape, so if your house isn't exactly perfect, that's just fine. Again, I'll change tools. This time I'm going to use just a regular butter knife, and this just a little bit smaller tool to get a little more details. And I'm going to cut the edge of the roof. Now again, quite often you have to go back and work on other parts because you couldn't complete them the first time. So we're going to want to add some windows and doors. With the door, I'm going to just cut lines to show where the door is going to be. And then I'm going to go around at a bit of an angle and just cut in on the sand so that the door sort of sticks out from the front of the house. So on the front, we'll put two windows. We'll put one on either side of the door, and then on the sides, we'll put one big window on each side. So on the front, I'll just scoop in a little bit and scoop a little bit at the bottom, and then do the sides. Put one on the other side, and you want to put them in about the same height so that they look like they're on the same level of the house. So the spoons worked well for the little windows, but on this one, I'm actually going to cut a longer window. So we'll just cut a straight line across at the top. Again, another straight line at the bottom. And then the ends, so it's like a big rectangle along the side of the house. And then what I do is I take my knife and I just go in at an angle just to remove the sand lightly. Now I'll just do another one on the other side. Again, I'll use my knife and cut my rectangles in the side of the house and do two of them. And again, clean the sand out of the window. Now you can add other things to your house, little things that you want. Maybe you want some little edges in your roof, or you can put some lines in your chimney just to show that it's made of bricks. I'll just clean up the edge of the roof a little bit. The line's not very good there. Now that we've got our door and our windows in our house, I think we're going to make some trees. And we'll put some trees around the house. We call these drip trees. What I do is I take a bucket with some water in it. I add some sand in it. What we do is we make the sand very soft and wet, and then we take it in our hand and we start with a big pile at the bottom, and then we just drip the trees on, and then we make them into little points. So we can go around the house. We can make all kinds of trees and forests around it. Make it look more realistic. There you have it, a great sand house with trees. Thanks for joining me on Activity TV today. We'll see you next time.
Want to continue the fun? Well, there's always more cool activities to check out on our website. Just visit www.activitytv.tv.
Made for on demand.
This sandcastle technique is intermediate level. Hi, I'm David Billings and welcome to Activity TV. Today we're going to build a really cool sandfish. Sometimes we use tools that require adult supervision, like a knife. So have fun creating these sandcastles with an adult helper. Now here's what you need to get started. One 5-gallon bucket, one 5-gallon bucket with the bottom cut out, one shovel, spatula, butter knife, one spoon, water, and of course sand.
To print out a list of supplies and step-by-step instructions, please visit www.activitytv.tv.
Let's get started. First we take a bucket with the bottom cut out and we get our sand, start putting our sand into the bucket. The reason we're doing this is so we can pack the sand firmly so we have a good base to build the sculpture. So we'll add some water. Now the water will soak through the sand and we'll mix it up a bit so we have a good foundation. You continue adding sand and mixing it with the water. As you're mixing the sand and water, you can pack it down a little bit with your hand in the water. Once you get it filled up, you just pack it down well with your hands, or you can use the end of the shovel. Usually your hands are pretty good in a small bucket like this. Next step I'm going to do is release the bucket from the sand because it does stick on the inside. So I just take my tool and I tap around the edges, and that'll allow the sand just to release around the edges. What you might have to also do is just clean up around the sides so that the bucket's not stuck in the sand. And then we just slowly pull the form up, or the bucket, and we should have a fairly good packed piece of sand. The first thing I'm going to do is draw the basic shape of the fish. Mine's going to be sort of the shape of an eyeball for the body of it. And then of course at the tail, it's sort of like a triangle over top of the edge of the eyeball. So now we have a basic shape for the fish. Now from there, I'm going to start cutting back around that drawing or those lines that I made, just so we get down to where the shape of the fish is. And again, we always start at the top, because that way anything that falls down is not going to fall on something that you've already made. We'll cut this back part off so we don't see it, and we can just shave it back. And again, you want to just get around the shape that you've made. Cut your triangle piece in here, which is where the tail is going to come up on the other side. And cut the back part of the tail where it is. Okay. Now once you've got the top roughly shaped out, then you can cut a little bit into the bottom. You don't want to cut too deep into the bottom, because if you do, the top of the sculpture might fall down. So we just want to cut just at an angle downwards in a bit for the bottom, and then work on the back tail again. Cut your line for the triangle that we shaped at the back. And again, you don't want to go in too deep underneath. Now we have a basic shape of the fish with the tail and so on. On the end of the tail, we'll put a little bit of a triangle going in also. We'll cut a little V shape out, because that's the way the tail goes in. Now we're going to work on the fin, and that'll be the first place we start because it's at the top. So I follow along the line we made for the body, and then I'm going to cut a little section of the top off where the fin's going to be. Just clean it up a little bit. Now you can add lines to it just to give it more character for the fin. And I'll just do some little straight cuts down, almost like a fan shape. Okay. When we do the tail, we're going to do sort of the same thing as the fins, except the tail, the lines are going to go to the back of it. And again, it's very much like a fan. So you want to just cut your lines along your tail. And there's our tail. So I'm just finish up the fin a little bit and then follow the nose or the face of the fish down along our line that we cut at the beginning. I'll take my other tool and just clean up some of the back of this again. Now we're going to make the face. First we're going to start with the eyeball, and the eyeball is just going to be here. So we're going to just make a nice circle for the eyeball. He also has a jowl, or the jaw part of the fish, and that's sort of like a half a circle, which will go from sort of underneath the bottom part of the eye and come all the way down like a big half circle to the bottom of the fish. Okay. And when you cut that, you cut it at a bit of an angle, as you can see. Then it makes it sort of rounded. Now his face is starting to show up. Go down and start cutting down to the mouth part. On the mouth, they sort of have a bit of a pucker, so we can make a little bit of a V cut in the front, just to show that his mouth's open a bit. Now, from the bottom of the mouth, at the bottom of that V cut, we want to take the line and follow it around all the way to where we made that big half circle. So there you got the jaw of the fish coming around to the bottom of the mouth. Now to complete the eye, we want to make it like a ball. So you need to cut a bit of an angle with your tool and just slowly go around, take little bits of sand off at a time. You have to be a little patient about this to try and get a good round circle. But even if it's not a circle, it's okay. As long as you can make it look the way you like. That's the main thing. Now we have the eyeball done. So for the fin on the side, again, we're going to make another triangle, sort of at the halfway point, right about halfway on the jaw. So we're going to carve a little triangle, just a small one. And we want to leave the sand that's on the inside of the triangle there. So we're going to cut around it. Try and keep that sand there. And then what we're going to do to make this triangle stand out more is we're actually going to shave some of the sand off around it. We'll just put a couple lines in it just to show that it's a fin. So we'll cut the back part of the fin and again shave some of the sand off around the fin so that it sticks out of the body. Now we're going to start on the scales and finish them up. So I'm going to use a spoon to do this, and I just poke it in a little bit. Do another one beside it and another one beside it. The scales, they're not always together. They're all separated, so what happens is we do another one after that, but in between the other two. And when you do that, it looks more like a fish. The scales should always be in different areas, and you just continue that along the whole body, all the way back till you get to your tail. To get some underneath here. And there you have it, your sand fish. Thanks for joining me. I'm David Billings. We'll see you next time.
Want to continue the fun? Well, there's always more cool activities to check out on our website. Just visit www.activitytv.tv.
Made for on demand.
This sandcastle technique is beginner level. Hi, welcome to Activity TV. I'm David Billings, and today we're going to build a sand pyramid. Sometimes we use tools that require adult supervision, like a knife. So have fun creating these sandcastles with an adult helper. Now here's what you need to get started. 1 5-gallon bucket, 1 shovel, spatula, water, and of course sand.
To print out a list of supplies and step-by-step instructions, please visit www.activitytv.tv.
First we're going to pile a base up. So we're going to dig lots of sand around, and then we're going to add some water. Put a few holes in it with the shovel. We're going to start adding water. We're going to need to add probably lots of water to this because we're going to pack it down with our feet. So I'll use a few buckets of water. So we'll do what I call foot packing. It's a good chance to get your feet all dirty with the sand. So I'll add more sand and keep piling up the pile. And then again, more water. And don't forget to keep packing it down. The more you pack it, the better your sculpture is going to turn out. So we'll just finish pouring up water around the sculpture just to get it packed. Now usually what I do is I use a flat-nosed beach shovel to do a lot of carving. And you can use the plastic ones you buy in the stores. And what I'll do is I'll go around and I'll pack it up and pack it down a little bit just to make it the sand a little firmer so it turns out nicer. You can use your hands or your feet. And you can start packing it almost into a pyramid shape. And of course with a pyramid, pyramids always have the point at the top and usually have 4 sides. So you start at the top, you can actually make a line going right over the very top of it, and then make one exactly the opposite across the other side and over the top again. Now you can see your 4 sides that are there. Now you want to make them flat. So what I do with my shovel is I cut it at an angle and I follow down my line . And just follow down the angle that I'm cutting at, and I will go around and do each side just like this. So now we've finished one side. I'll go around and do the next one. Again, you follow down the line that you made, and you try and make a nice straight line from one corner to the other. Now the smoother you make the sides, the better it's going to look. So that's as deep as my pyramid is going to be. Now I'm going to add some detail. I'm just going to cut some lines across the top and all the way down. I try and make them as straight as possible and even between them. I'll move around and do from each side. Now we've finished the horizontal lines, now we're going to make brick lines in the pyramid. Now when you're making brick lines, you need to stagger them, then they'll look more like bricks. as you go down. So of course, now you want to go all the way around and do each side. There you have it, a great pyramid. I'm David Billings, thanks for watching.
Want to continue the fun? Well, there's always more cool activities to check out on our website. Just visit www.activitytv.tv.
Made for on demand.
This sandcastle technique is beginner level. Hi, welcome to Activity TV. I'm David Billings and I'm going to teach you about sandcastle building basics. Sometimes we use tools that require adult supervision, like a knife. So have fun creating these sandcastles with an adult helper. Now here's what you need to get started. One 5-gallon bucket, one 5-gallon bucket with the bottom cut out, one shovel, beach bucket, spatula, water, and of course sand.
To print out a list of supplies and step-by-step instructions, please visit www.activitytv.tv.
Let's get started with the sandcastle basics. The first thing you want to do is start with your main base. So we start digging the sand up and piling it in the middle. We're building the base for the main part of the sandcastle, which will hold the outer walls of the building. Once I get the sand piled up, I'll start pouring water on it to mix the sand and the water. I move a little bit of sand aside so I can pour the water in the middle. So we want to put lots of water on here to get a nice strong foundation so that the castle stands longer and that you can build on top of it. Now we want to make these walls as tall as possible, so we'll add more sand all the way around. And then of course more water. Now I'll add more water again. This time I think I built my walls high enough, and then once I've finished adding water, I'll start to pack the walls by hand so that they're nice and strong. While I'm packing also, you'll see that I'm sort of trying to make a squarer shape to the walls, which I'll carve down later. But again, it's important to have it packed really well so that when you do sculpt or carve the sand, that it stays together well and you can get much better detail. Now, as I said before, it never hurts to use lots of water because the water actually goes right through the sand.